Hello and welcome to the Samyama podcast. I'm Aniket and today we're exploring a story that's not about one person but about all of us. It's about healthcare, technology and the invisible systems that make modern medicine work. Open your patient app or even have a telemedicine call, it feels simple. But beneath that simplicity are protocols, quiet, powerful standards that connect doctors, labs, machines, and even your smartwatch. Today we're pulling back the curtain on those hidden technologies and asking how exactly does healthcare stay connected? I'm joined by Maya, a health IT specialist who spends her days making sure these systems can actually talk to each other. Maya, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Aniket. Happy to be here. And you're right. When most people think of healthcare, they think about doctors, nurses, maybe hospitals. But modern medicine also runs on technology. Invisible plumbing, really. Protocols that move data, structure it, and make sure that when you show up at the ER, your doctor isn't starting from scratch. These aren't things you see, but without them, healthcare today would fall apart.
Let's begin with the scariest scenario. Say, I collapse at work and get rushed into the ER. Within minutes, the doctors already know my allergies, prescriptions, and history. How does that happen? How on earth do they get all that so quickly?
That's thanks to HL7, Health Level 7. Specifically, HL7 version 2, which is still the backbone of hospital communication worldwide. Think of HL7v2 like a messaging service that every hospital system understands. When your lab runs a test, that result gets packaged into an HL7 message. When your pharmacy updates your medication list, that's another HL7 message. These messages flow between systems, electronic health records, lab systems, pharmacy systems, so that when you arrive at the ER, your information is already there. Now, HL7 version 3 was a later attempt to modernize the standard. It used XML, which made data more structured and machine readable, but it was so complex that adoption lagged.
So without HL7, what would it look like? How would hospitals talk to each other?
Honestly, chaos. Before HL7, it was faxes, phone calls, even couriers carrying paper files across town. Imagine you're in the ER and unconscious. Doctors might have to wait hours to get your allergy list faxed over, if it arrived at all. That delay could literally be life-threatening. HL7 reduced that chaos by creating a shared language for health data.
Oh my goodness. And that was just 20 years ago. The transformation has been incredible.
And what's really interesting is that we're still using version 2 of HL7 even though it's decades old. It's like this universal translator that just works.
You know what's funny about that? They tried to replace it with version 3, which was more sophisticated, but hospitals basically said, thanks, but no thanks. It was too complex.
Well, that's exactly like when companies try to fix something that isn't broken and end up making it worse.
Alright, moving on. Let's say I'm discharged from the hospital and then go see my family doctor a week later. Somehow they already have a neat summary of everything that happened in the hospital. How does that get to them?
That's the job of CDA, Clinical Document Architecture. CDA creates structured digital medical documents. Instead of handing you a printed report or faxing random notes, the hospital generates a CDA file that contains everything. Diagnosis, medications, allergies, procedures, in a format both humans and machines can read. In the US, there's a specific version called CCD, Continuity of Care Document. This ensures when you move between providers, your critical health info follows you in a consistent format. It reduces errors, saves time, and ensures continuity of care.
So, what's the big difference between a CDA and just a scanned PDF report?
Great question. A scanned PDF is like a picture. A human can read it, but a computer can't understand it. CDA, on the other hand, is structured. That means a system can automatically pull out your medication list or your allergy history without someone manually reading it. It's machine-friendly, which makes it much more powerful for sharing and automation.
What happens if CDA or CCD aren't used?
Then you're back to fragmented care. One doctor might not know what another prescribed. You might have to repeat the same tests. In the worst case, you might get prescribed something you're allergic to simply because the record didn't transfer properly. CDA prevents those gaps.
Okay, so now I'm home. I log into my hospital's patient portal and boom, I can see lab results, book appointments, even sync my Fitbit. What makes that possible?
That's FHIR. Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources. If HL7 is like old school messaging, FHIR is the modern web API for healthcare. It's designed for the app economy. FHIR creates standard resources like a resource for a patient, a resource for lab results, a resource for medications. Apps can then query those resources in the same way they'd query any other web service. That's why your smartwatch can share step counts or heart rate data with your hospital, or why you can view your lab results instantly in your phone app. FHIR basically makes healthcare data app-friendly.
So before FHIR, was this just not possible?
Not easily. Before FHIR, data exchange was clunky. You could sometimes share data, but it wasn't real time, and it often required custom integrations that took months. FHIR changed the game by being simple, flexible, and designed for modern APIs. It made health data behave more like the rest of the internet.
And is FHIR being widely adopted now?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, many governments are mandating FHIR for interoperability. In the US, for example, regulations now require hospitals and insurers to make data accessible via FHIR APIs. It's becoming the standard for the next generation of healthcare apps. That's exactly what makes all this so revolutionary. We're not just treating sick people anymore. We're trying to keep healthy people from getting sick in the first place.
I remember my uncle once carried a CD of his MRI to another hospital. That feels ancient now. What changed?
That's thanks to DICOM, Digital Imaging and Communications in Medicine. DICOM is the universal standard for storing and sharing medical images. It ensures your CT scan, MRI, or X-ray looks exactly the same no matter where it's opened, and it can be securely transmitted across systems. Before DICOM, every scanner might produce images in its own format. One hospital's machine could create files another hospital couldn't open. DICOM fixed that by standardizing image formats and metadata.
So if DICOM didn't exist, what would happen?
It would be a mess. Doctors might not be able to view scans from other hospitals. Patients would be forced to carry CDs or even films physically, and sometimes the images wouldn't display properly, which is dangerous when you're trying to diagnose something like a brain tumor. DICOM made medical imaging portable, reliable, and safe.
Does DICOM only cover storage, or does it also handle transmission?
Both. DICOM standardizes how images are stored and how they are transmitted across systems. That's why today a specialist across the country can securely view your MRI on their screen almost instantly without you having to mail anything.
During the pandemic, we all got used to seeing doctors online, but I'm guessing those video calls aren't just Zoom?
Correct. Most telemedicine platforms run on WebRTC, the protocol that powers real-time video and audio in browsers and apps. But healthcare adds another layer: secure messaging and encryption protocols to make sure everything complies with privacy laws like HIPAA. So while it feels like a simple video chat, behind the scenes, it's a carefully engineered, secure pipeline for sensitive data.
What would be the risk if it were just plain Zoom?
The risk is data leakage. Imagine your medical consult being recorded or intercepted. HIPAA and other regulations demand end-to-end encryption, strong identity checks, and secure storage. WebRTC provides the foundation, but healthcare platforms add those compliance features to keep everything safe.
So WebRTC is kind of the engine, and the healthcare layer is the safety gear.
Exactly. The engine powers the video, and the safety gear ensures your health information stays private and secure.
Okay, last one. My smartwatch keeps nudging me to move or drink water, but my doctor can also see my heart rate data. How does that actually get from my wrist to their screen?
Here's the journey.
Your watch collects the data and sends it via Bluetooth to your phone. Your phone then packages that data and uses lightweight messaging protocols like MQTT to send it to a cloud server. From there, the data is made available to your doctor's dashboard. This setup is what enables remote monitoring. Instead of waiting until you're sick enough to show up in a clinic, your doctor can see warning signs in your data and intervene early. It's a huge shift toward preventive care.
So without these protocols, would wearables just be fitness toys?
Pretty much. Without Bluetooth and MQTT, your smartwatch data would stay on your wrist. It might help you personally, but it wouldn't enter the clinical workflow. These protocols are what transform wearables into medical tools.
And do doctors actually trust this data? I mean, consumer devices aren't always precise.
That's true. Doctors don't treat smartwatch data as a replacement for clinical measurements, but they do use it as an early warning system to spot trends, to prompt further testing, or to catch something before it escalates. It's not perfect, but it's powerful.
So that's it. HL7, CDA, FHIR, DICOM, WebRTC, Bluetooth MQTT. Strange names maybe, but together they're the backbone of modern medicine.
Exactly. They're the silent infrastructure. Without them, we'd still be faxing records and carrying CDs of scans.
And maybe that's the biggest takeaway for all of us. Healthcare isn't just doctors and hospitals, it's also invisible technology quietly keeping us safe. The next time you check your lab results online or join a video call with your doctor, remember there's a whole hidden world of standards making it possible. That's all for today's episode of the Samyama podcast. I'm Aniket. Stay healthy, stay curious, and remember, the future of medicine isn't just about treatments, it's about connection.